We'll call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I invite you to join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Kolpak. Here. Pepcorn.
Here.
Strand.
Here.
Turnberg. Here. Mahoney.
Here. Inspections. In 2024, the new construction in the city totaled $687 million, including 202 single-family homes, 38 twin homes or row houses, and 441 multifamily housing units. The largest building projects in the city in 2024 were the airport terminal, worth $94 million, the airport parking garage, worth $38 million, the downtown NP redevelopment project, worth $49 million, the Lascaux housing project, worth $14 million, the Von Meur department store at $16 million, and the expansion of the John Deere plant worth $10 million. Library. A presentation and workshop for the National Junior Duck Stamp Art Contest is January 11th at the main library. Kids can learn about the contest, including its history, how to enter, age grouping, scholarship awards, and related wildfowl and habitat education resources from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. National Puzzle Day would be celebrated January 18th at the main library starting at 9 a.m. Activities include a social, puzzle exchange, chess event, and puzzle completion. Pre-registration is required for that. Planning. The city is continuing to support the expansion of child care facilities in Fargo. As a member of the North Dakota Opportunity Fund, Fargo has provided letters of support to use this fund, which provides a match from the Bank of North Dakota Interest Buy-Down Program. Support has been provided for 5 child care facilities, and support for 2 more are on tonight's consent agenda. It's an important partnership with the city, the North Dakota Opportunity Fund, and the Bank of North Dakota. On December 26th at approximately 6 p.m., a bus driver, Zachary Armstrong, was driving Route 15, which runs between downtown and West Acres and Walmart, when he noticed a female passenger who was slumped down in her seat and another passenger was trying to get her to respond. Zachary pulled the bus over, contacted dispatch to send emergency services to the scene. He then retrieved Narcan spray and, with the help of another passenger, administered the spray. The female passenger quickly responded to the Narcan, and when emergency services arrived, they removed the female passenger from the bus. This is the first time a bus driver has utilized Narcan spray, which is located on every bus. The city and the transit department would like to commend Zachary for his quick thinking and assistance to this passenger. And John, it's a great story about Narcan, right? That we put it all over police cars, fire cars, and the bus.
It's another save.
Yep. And then, as part of the Fargo's commitment to sustainability and responsible waste management, I'm excited to share a video with you tonight about the city's sanitary landfill reclamation project. This initiative focuses on excavating and modernizing the East landfill site, ensuring environmental safety, reducing long-term liabilities, and maximizing the use of the city-owned land. It is a forward-thinking project which demonstrates how the city can be innovative to protect the community and
So where we're standing now is what was referred to as the old landfill. And it was the old landfill because it was an operating landfill between 1950 and 1980. So it was all 160 acres were full of garbage that was not in a line cell. So the way they handled landfilling back in the day was just digging a hole, putting garbage in, and covering it up. What we're doing with this reclamation project is removing that old waste and the contaminated soil and water that was in there, relocating it to our active cells, and then constructing in its place a new cell that's regulated by the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality and the EPA. And these new cells are lined with a base liner that contains all the waste and contains all the water. We put in a leachate collection system which takes the contaminated water and brings it for treatment up at the wastewater treatment facility. In the best interest of the city, we decided we would excavate out the old waste, remove that liability, and bring it up to standards so that we can make sure that we're keeping the area around us safe. The city is saving money. We're utilizing space that the city already owns. We don't have to purchase land elsewhere to try and develop a landfill. There's a lot of permitting and other costs that come in to trying to develop a new landfill site. So that's a huge cost savings here. And there are some unrealized money savings that you could look at as far as any potential, again, environmental liability that may arise by leaving this waste in place. We would have to pay to somehow fix down the road. We do monitor the groundwater year-round, monitoring systems surrounding the site, so we believe that this is the best path forward for the landfill. Main goal would be to, again, remove that potential liability that was in place for all those years and gain much-needed space for the city of Fargo, businesses here, the residents, and the greater Cass County, so we can have a spot to place everyone's garbage.
Cool. Big, deep ditch, I take it that. Is there a motion to approve the order of the agenda, including adding an additional item to the consent agenda under item 7 for games of chance application for the North Dakota Light Cheer parents doing business as NDECP for a raffle on 1/18/25, changing the name on item 34 to MBN Properties LLC, and changing the address on item 38A to 1605 28 1.5 Avenue South, and adding an additional item at the end of the regular agenda to consider approval of a purchase agreement and earnest money contract with Galvanizers Incorporated. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the December 23rd, 2024?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 32?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Kolpak,
Aye.
Turnberg,
Aye.
Pepcorn,
Aye.
Strand,
Yes.
Mahoney.
Aye. Just for the public to know, Commissioner Strand is wearing these dark glasses because he's famous. No, because his old glasses broke, so,
And the super glue didn't quite work.
okay. So that's why we're in shades today. I thought he was for the fame of the Bison winning their 10th national championship. I didn't know. A regular agenda, we have a recommendation for alignment of the Red River Drive shared use path. Jeremy Gordon to explain.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Good to be in front of you tonight. So the first item on the agenda here is to talk about the shared use path that we're planning to construct up here in this area of North Fargo, and for you folks to concur with our alignment that we have in store. So just a brief project history. Many of you may know this, some may not. We've identified this route as a priority for decades. This path project has been included in multiple MetroCog studies. We looked for federal money in the fall of 2023, and we were selected last year. So we're currently working on the environmental process and design. So it begins right where El Zagel is at on Elm Street there at 15th Avenue North, proceeds along the river, and it ends at the cul-de-sac at Woodcrest Drive, where we acquired some homes through flood buyouts a number of years ago. It's a little over a mile long, pretty long path project for us. Estimated cost is $1.3 million, and there's a mix of funding. There's federal funds, and then we'll split the local share with the Fargo Park District. No special assessments with the project. The lands that it'll be on is City of Fargo lands, Fargo Park District lands, and United States of America care of the VA hospital. So we'll, in addition to along the river, we'll have additional connections going east to Elm at near 16th Avenue and near 19th Avenue. And public comments, we've received mixed for and against the project. So here's the map. Should have brought this up when I was talking about it, but you can see the path, the proposed path in black there going along the river. Really what happens with these projects and makes the ability to create these are the flood buyouts that we've had in cooperation with the VA hospital. We always wondered if we could go behind their property, and they are open to it. So like I said, the additional 2 connections, this one is on Park District land just south of the VA parking lot from Elm over to the lift station that we have there. And this one's a little bit unique. This is just an up and over a earthen levee on the corner of Elm and 16th. So you may ask, why am I in front of you tonight on the shared use path project? It's really just to be open and transparent to the public. We have heard from residents during the course of the project, and we gave them the opportunity to speak tonight if they wanted to. So on the public input side, we advertised and sent out flyers for a public input meeting in late October. You may or may not have been contacted from some of the residents out there. We had a lot of written comments, a lot of verbal comments for and against the project. We have discussed the alignment end of the design with a number of the folks up there that live adjacent to where the path is going to go. We have listened to them, and we have moved the path where we could to get the path further away from some of the properties up there. And then we let the folks know they could come here tonight to talk to you about it. So this is where the VA property is to the left there. Their contractor staging is where that red roofed garage is. From there east on their property is really where their contractors have the space for their vehicles and materials. So we heard from folks basically in this area that where the path gets closer to the properties. So here's a bird's eye view. North is to the left. I did my best job putting a path in there. That's the green alignment. And Houston Engineering is the designer for us. So the original alignment is in red. It swings up from the southeast. And we were about 35 feet from the back property line on some of the homes there. And then we were able to look at the grading and look at the contours. And we were able to move it to where the purple line is. So that's about 75 feet from the rear lot line of some of those properties. And just as you move east, the alignments come together. So the original alignment, we were 35 feet from the rear property lines, 2 to 3 feet in elevation below, and we were at a pretty good flood stage, 32 to 33 feet. With the revised alignment, we moved it from those properties about 75 feet. We lowered it 8 to 9 feet in elevation. It'll go underwater at a lower flood stage of the Red River, but really a nuisance flood that us in the Park District kind of live by is a 24-foot flood or lower. So it's still above the nuisance flood. So we built a lot of paths in town, and I just grabbed a couple examples. So this is a shared use path we put on Drain 27 probably 15 years ago. It runs east and west on the north side there. So that path is about 45 feet from the rear property line. This is in the timberline area. I think this path was built in the late 90s before we had any of the flood control out there, but this is post flood control with some earthen levees and some flood walls. In this particular instance, I think that property is about 60 feet. And on the very popular Milwaukee Trail by the Discovery School, this one's about 50 feet from the property lines. So that's my presentation in front of you, and the recommended motion is here for you.
I think, Jeremy, the real concern by the neighbors was when it was up higher, you could actually have, the walkers could see in the back of the houses. When you've dropped this 7 to 8 feet now, basically the walkers won't be able to be seen in the back of the properties. I think, Dave, some of your north side neighbors were concerned about that. And I think the team did a great job to re-engineer it to, I think, address those issues. So wasn't that most of the concern in the neighborhood meetings?
Yep, I believe so.
Okay. Any discussion? Commissioner Pickburn.
Mr. Chair, so I have a question, Jeremy. So it's a bike trail. So is it going to be the same rules as the Park District Trail, where it's for walking and bicycles, or especially along the VA? Do they have to follow the same rules? That's my question.
Yeah, so during the daylight hours it'll be open, and after it's dark it'll be closed.
Okay.
But that really has to be enforced as complaint based.
And can I just add, Mr. Chair, so this is great news. For a very long time, we've been trying to do this, and the VA forever was not in favor of this. Now they have, one of the people that's in charge of the VA in Fargo is a bicyclist, and so that's one of the reasons I believe that we are getting it. But it's the potential is down the road then to have the bike trail go all the way north and hopefully connect into Moorhead and then go all the way to Detroit Lakes. And so down the road. And obviously with the diversion, there's lots of other potential connections. So this is kind of just a start, but forever it's been along the river and kind of ended at Elm Street. And now this will be able to continue a little bit further. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Pepcorn,
Aye.
Turnberg,
Aye.
Kolpak,
Aye.
Strand, Mahoney,
Aye. Public hearing Renaissance Zone Rehabilitation Project for MBA properties, rehabilitation of commercial property, including historic preservation tax credits for 701 Main Avenue. Megan or Nicole? Nicole Crutchfield to explain.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor. The city received an application for MBN Properties to rehabilitate the commercial building at 701 Main Avenue. It's kind of an exciting project as it's a landmark location, and we have a new user of this facility to make it into their personal office spaces. So the intent of the project is to rehabilitate the interior of the building. And in the staff report and in your packet is the application and corresponding materials. The current value of the property is $954,000, and the proposed investment is another $850,000, with which surpasses the minimum threshold of they'll be investing $69 per square foot. And Tony Uckel, the applicant, is here representing this project if you have any questions. And they also, of note, receiving historic preservation tax credits. And in conjunction with this application, in the packet materials that was in front of the Renaissance Zone, there was discussion of an alternative that could improve the plaza area and the fountain. Our last correspondence with the applicant is that that part of the project is on hold. But the Renaissance Zone did approve this project unanimously, and we'd be glad to answer any questions.
The only question I had is you have a ranking of 65, and it seems like a great project. Can you explain to the commission why it ranks that way?
Yeah, I think this is the same trend you've been seeing in the last 3 to 4 applications. I think when we did the Renaissance Zone plan update a few years back, about 5 years back, we corresponded that with the downtown and focus plan and goals. And basically, we overshot the application review criteria. We'll be relooking at that when we do the land development code update and the incentive update. And so I think we historically have assigned a scoring related to the value of the project. We're, as staff, asking you not to look necessarily at the scoring as it relates to the value of the project. The scoring is really as it relates to the downtown and focus plan, and which would not necessarily apply here. So we're going to be correcting those application processes to streamline that in a little bit more probably next year after the LDC is done.
Thank you. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak to this Renaissance Zone application? Anyone present wish to speak? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion. Can I make a comment? Or should I wait till after the?
Let's get the second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll make the motion, Mr. Chair.
I'll
There a
second.
Okay, now you can make a comment, Commissioner Pepper.
Thank you. So there was a letter to the editor that was criticized the city of Fargo for selling the property. I don't know if anybody else saw that, but anyway, I just wanted to clarify, the city of Fargo didn't sell the property, the Park District did. The other thing is, if somebody wanted to do something with it, then they can buy it. And so they were basically saying, it's a historic landmark, we should not do anything to it, we should just let it sit. And so I just wanted to clarify that it was a Park District, and this, to me, this is a great thing, because they're going to be the proposed is $850,000, they're going to be investing in it. So from one hand, obviously, we want to keep these historic buildings, but you also want to keep them active. And so I think it's a great thing. And so I just wanted, and then one more clarification, Mr. Mayor, this is a big one. Not 10 national championships, it's 18 national championships. So that might not be a big thing to you, but it's a very big thing to me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think it's 10 in the last 14 years, right? Thank you. Any other comments, or Commissioner Strand?
Thank you. My comments have absolutely nothing to do with the developer or the opportunity that they saw. I just feel really remiss that we didn't have this discussion months and months and months and months ago. One of the most pristine national historic properties in our city, owned by the people, without a public discussion to speak of, is turned over to a private owner. You know, I reached out to Carolyn Botain months ago. I reached out to our planning department also and asked, what's the role of the city in an effort like this? And was told it's really not our business. But it's the city's business. You know, and I'm an old tree hugger, old building hugger. I've been in court fighting for historic buildings. So you know, this is just a really big, huge misstep. I know a person in Fargo who was in the youth commission 50 or 40 years ago. The youth in this town fought to save that building from demolition, as I understand it, and got it turned into a youth commission. And then there's pictures of youth in town playing pool in that building with police officers and engaging with each other and getting to know each other. Then it turned over to the Park District for senior citizens. Then it turned over to the Park District, and somehow, and the Park District last year had a $2 million mistake in their budget, so this is convenient. I'm just really upset that we didn't have a public discourse about an asset of this caliber and historic relevance that didn't even get talked about. And I know it's the park's role, and I know it's not our job, and I know that I always support Renaissance activities. I don't support where this came from and how it was handled, and that the public no longer owns this spectacular historic asset.
But I think the one thing you'd be happy about, John, is the new company coming in, taking it over, is respecting that historic, and is in this development that we're going to do for it, improve upon it, make it even better. I think Commissioner Pepcorn was arguing for maybe a splash pad because they had trouble with the fountain, but we wanted it to continue to be a historic-looking area and building, so at least they didn't come in and tear it down and replace it. So.
And why didn't this go to our Historic Preservation Committee?
I think for the Commissioner Pipcorn's comment, it was park board land. We didn't.
But that's what their job is, to vet historic buildings and their anticipated uses, changes in ownership, modifications and demos. This didn't even go before our own Historic Preservation Committee. Why does it exist?
We don't have jurisdiction, right, Nicole?
Correct. The Historic Preservation Commission is afforded its authority through the Land Development Code, which is not part of the Federal Historic Registry and its process. So this is not a city-placed historic preservation element like a historic overlay. This is a federal mandate that the owner of the building at the time registered the building at the federal level. So I think that's a little. The Historic Preservation Authority does not rest with that unless just advisory in nature.
It doesn't, but 20 years ago when they were demolishing the jail, we went and talked with the Historic Preservation Committee, even though they didn't have authority. They had a voice, they expressed their concerns about preserving history. Anyway, this is nothing about the development. The horses are out of this barn. It's just a loss for our community. It's going to be a great addition, I'm sure, when they're done. But it's a loss to the public who owned this asset.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Pepcorn.
Aye.
Kolpak.
Aye.
Turnberg.
Aye.
Strand.
No.
Mahoney.
Aye. 35, the District of Fargo, 5th edition, approved recommendation by Planning Commission on 12/3/24. It's a zoning change to repeal and reestablish a conditional overlay, and it's a first reading of the rezoning ordinance. Now we're substituting Donald Kress. So Nicole steps back and you come up, Donald. Nice sweater. It
Thank you,
wasn't
sir.
your Christmas sweater, but it has a little shine on it, huh?
Yes, sir. It's the same one for the first city commission meeting every year. So I like
Every
to keep
year you do that.
I like to
Okay.
keep those traditions up, sir. Team Fargo is about tradition. Moving forward here, good evening, Commissioners. Donald Kress of the Department of Planning and Development. I'll be presenting this item. This item includes an ordinance prepared by the City Attorney's Office. As the mayor stated, our first item here is the District of Fargo 5th Edition. It's located here on 55th Avenue South and 38th Street. Just for reference, here is 52nd Avenue and I-29. Oh, went too fast there. The Walmart, up here and the new Park District building down here. This property is zoned LC, Limited Commercial. The request here is not to change the base zoning of limited commercial at all, but to modify the conditional overlay. Commissioners, as you know, many properties, especially commercial properties, have these conditional overlays. The original conditional overlay for this area was developed in 2007 and had some regulations about what we now call electronic messaging signs. They were called animated signs under that conditional overlay. And an attachment to your staff report shows the wording that is proposed to be modified. In 2010, our current sign code was adopted, and this sign code has detailed regulations for electronic messaging centers, such as brightness, frame effects, background animation, and size. And so the applicant's request is just to eliminate that wording about the animated signs in their conditional overlay and to let the current sign code regulate their sign. And staff supports this, and the Planning Commission also recommended approval of this. So this is the zoning. Here are some photos of the site here. This is the sign. Oh, going too fast here. This is the sign here, and note this area. This is where the dynamic or the electronic messaging sign will be. It'll be this piece here. So that will be again on this area here. So that'll just add in there. The applicants, Nathan Scaff of River Rock Property and Nick Qualley of Scenic Signs, are with us this afternoon and may wish to address the commission. The Planning Commission's recommendation is stated in the staff report and shown on the screen. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you, Commissioners.
Anyone present wishes to speak to this zoning change? Anyone present wishing to speak? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? So this follows all our sign ordinances.
This will, sir, yes. When their sign goes through the review process, it'll just apply the sign code to this project.
Roll call vote, please.
Kolpak.
Aye.
Turnberg.
Aye.
Strand.
Yes.
Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mahoney.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item 36, discuss 2025 request for qualifications process for the Fargo Civic Center. This is just, it's come up by commissioners numerous times what to do with the Civic Center. 2025, I'd like us to ask the City Commission and the community what you'd like to do with the Fargo Civic Center. Prior to the pandemic, there was momentum building to think about a future of the Civic Center. For a variety of reasons, the Performing Arts Center did not move forward at that time, and it was the site where we were going to put the new Performing Arts Center. I see an opportunity now to utilize the existing building in a short to medium term for events and outside users. Ideally, I'd want to see if an outside entity or organization could increase the vitality and visibility of the Civic Center. Activating the space would be good for downtown. I think it would make this part of the downtown area more active with people and things going on. To generate ideas for the new building, or for the building, I'm proposing a request for qualifications to be developed for interested parties to submit their concepts. My goal is we start that conversation and continue it in 2025, and would actually like to do that this year. Can we figure it out and see what people want to do? So I would like to give the commissioners a month to weigh in and say, here's what we're thinking, here's what we're doing. Mike Redinger will take those suggestions and then bring back a formal request for qualifications that will come to this commission. So the suggested motion is to direct staff to create an RFQ for the City Commission to consider and approve later, hopefully end of January, early February. And I'd welcome any suggestions for the RFQ that you think should be in. So that's my suggestions. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, first of all, I think this is very premature because the first thing we have to do is figure out what it's going to cost if we're going to do something with the Civic Center to modernize it, the infrastructure. In 2021, JLG did a research on that, and it was $6.1 million. And today that translates to $7.5 million. And that's just to update the facility so you can use it. And right now, we don't have any money to spend for that. And the real shame is that's where our Performing Arts Center should be. And instead, we have a downtown engagement center that basically tremendously damaged our downtown. And so we have lots of things to consider before an RFQ for the Fargo Civic Center. And I think we should continue this because there's a lot more questions and a lot more changes have to be made before we do this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Strand.
Thank you. You know, it's our fiduciary responsibility to give the public as much result as we can on the assets that we steward for them. You know, so this is an asset we manage and control. If this civic center were in Valley City or Grafton, it'd be a crown jewel. You know, and here for us, it's a liability because we want it gone. And that's been our desire, is to have it gone. You know, my sense is, and I welcome this approach. I want one more, Mayor, thought process put into our thinking as we go forward. Not only do I want to hear from the public or developers or ideas of what they could do with the Civic Center, I want to hear from the general public. What would you like to have us do there? Well, you know, like for example, and it's just an idea, I've been researching childcare facilities and services for a long time and envision a childcare mecca where we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people daily going, I don't know if it's viable. You know, Wofford City or Williston, one of them took and created a publicly owned building for childcare provision. I don't know what the public's best thinking is. So I want to hear from developers and I want to hear from the people. What would you like to see us do in this facility as long as it's here and you all own it?
Any other discussion? Commissioner Kolpak.
Yeah, I welcome this approach as well. I think part of the RFQ process would be what's doable in the condition that it's in today. We have about 3 or 4 events a year there now that work there. Chris Kringelmart is an example, TEDx is another. But hearing for what's possible short term so that we can continue to utilize this asset, I think would be a benefit to the downtown business owners and visitors and residents. There was a big uptake this year in Chris Kringelmart. In fact, they've added a couple dates now to the event, so it's been successful. So I welcome it. I think an active civic center also is really important for the mall and the city hall, and so I support it.
Just to comment, Commissioner Pepper, when you talk about the $6 million, that was a major redo of the facility. I'm not really asking that. I'm kind of asking what are some ideas to go forward. Public get involved, developers can get involved. We were down in Frisco and in their area, they looked at their park and what it needed, and they have a $140 million redo of that downtown area to do different things. So I'm not sure what we'll get out of it, but as we have now, it's an asset that we have that might be better utilized. So it's really just a question. The commission would get any requests for if there's money involved or updates that we'd have to do with it. But when you do an RFQ, that's really what you're asking the community, and you allow them to come back and give us some advice, and we may or may not accept it, but at least we're asking the question. So that's why I would like to try to do this. So any other comments?
So, Mr. Chair, the $6 million, I've been in the basement and seen the furnace system. It's duct tape and baling wire, and it's 50 years old. That has to be updated. You don't just open it up and not have heat. You got to replace the heating system. The accessibility, it's from 1950 accessibility. That all has to be updated if you're going to use the building, period. So you need to find out what it's all going to cost. You don't ask for RFQs to open the building until you have the building ready to open, period. So the RFQs for operating the building, you have to know what it's going to cost. And on top of that, we don't have any money. Once again, we don't have any money. We are over the fiscal cliff, and now we're just deciding how hard we're going to land. If you disagree with that, maybe you should meet with our financial director or our city administrator, because we are over the financial cliff and we don't have any money. To give you an example, our libraries are not closed on Sunday, and that's because we don't have any money. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That's because we turned around and asked all the departments what else could they do to help us with our budget. So,
Mayor,
Mr. Strand.
maybe we'll get some revenue out of it. Wouldn't that be something if somebody came up and said, how about we buy it from you? Or how about we rent it from you? How about we lease it from you? And how about we give you some remuneration for it? I don't know, but that's probably what will happen if we have somebody coming forward with suggestions. No harm in asking.
Any other discussion? Mr.
Yeah, I've
Turnberg?
already put it on my Facebook page and asking for ideas, and I've had a myriad of different ideas from residents. So I think it's a great discussion, get feedback from people, what they're thinking, what ideas they have, and there's things that I haven't thought of. So it's a step in the right direction.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
I don't have a motion.
I make the motion, Mayor Mahoney.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. So excited about the motion, I forgot we had to have a motion.
Okay.
Roll call vote, please.
Strand,
Yes.
Kolpak.
Aye.
Turnberg.
Aye.
Pepcorn.
No.
Mahoney.
Aye. Recommendation for appointment to the Liquor Control Board. You have my recommendation. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Pepcorn.
Aye.
Turnberg.
Aye.
Kolpak.
Aye.
Strand.
Yes.
Mahoney.
Aye. Item 38, application for property tax exemptions. Look how many people are doing this for their improvements made on buildings. We had a huge list this time. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Kolpak.
Aye.
Turnberg.
Aye.
Strand.
Yes.
Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mahoney.
Aye. Liaison Commission, this is the fastest meeting you guys are ever going to be in. Liaison Commissioner assignment update. We'll start with Pepcorn. We'll go the other direction today.
I'm going to use my time because we had fun this weekend and congratulate the Bison. It was a great weekend and it was a great game in Montana State. It was a lot of fun. The mayor was there as well. It wasn't as warm as we had hoped. It was 30 degrees, so it was a little bit chilly, but it was a great weekend. And congratulate the Bison. The thing that was the most impressive, they did not, their defense, especially over the season, they improved so much, and so I wanted to congratulate them all. And it was lots of fun to see all the Bison fans. The thing I enjoy the most is we're in Dallas, and so there's lots of people at these fancy restaurants, and they're like, who are these hayseeds in these yellow outfits all over town? They do not enjoy us, and so, but the bars and restaurants enjoy us. But anyway, had a great weekend. Congratulations to the Bison. That's their 18th national championship. Thank you.
18th. Okay, I'll have to remember that tomorrow when I talk about it at the State of Cities. Commissioner Turnberg.
No update.
I just wanted, our last discussion, we had a talk about relocating the engagement center along with incorporating mental health and deflection services through collaboration in other entities. The governor just had his discussion yesterday, and it here's that he also is want to be party of this, of what we're going to do with our mental health issues throughout the state and in our community. At our meeting, we discussed preferred location areas, and since our last meeting, the city has received several sites to consider, 2 of which would meet the needed space requirements, but yet have to be thoroughly vetted. We continue to invite the community to reach out to us as potential viable locations, and we'll have a discussion with the commission as we look at those locations as well. I have asked our Bloomberg consultants to come and visit with us, and we'll have a brown bag in 2 weeks to discuss the path forward and take some of their knowledge in what we're trying to do here. In the governor's message, I think people have to understand we're trying to do a pilot or do something different in Fargo that has not really been attempted out the state before. So it is really trying to look at a combination of the issues you have in a large metro area. And I'm very excited what we'll show you in 2 weeks just to what's gone on and what things might work in our community. And we'll bring that forth to you with the brown bag in 2 weeks. Commissioner Kolpak.
Yep, I have 2 updates. The first I talked about at last commission meeting, the increased interest in the Fargo Youth Initiative, and they met Sunday. And it's just a reminder, it's made up of area local high school students from all schools. And when they met, they elected their new leadership team for the year. And they also gave feedback to FargoCast Public Health on how to better serve the youth and identified their areas of focus for youth homelessness, youth public health, and school engagement. So they're an ambitious and eager group to make a difference in our community. And a lot of them, it's their first entry into serving their community in government. So to learn more about them, you can go to our website /FYI. And then also, I just wanted to acknowledge the Bison victory with my yellow necklace tonight and say congratulations on really an incredible game that was even though I couldn't go to the game, it was very fun to watch. So congratulations.
Mr. Strand.
Thank you. Commissioners, I think we should do like the White House, Commissioner Pepcorn, let's invite the bison here. When they win something like that, let's invite them and we can have McDonald's burgers.
No.
But anyway, but I'd like to see them. I'd like to have them know what a community success that is and what an important play that is for all of us. And what marketing, I mean, it's brilliant. I'd love to see the bison team come and have us acknowledge them. Couple updates. In the public health arena, on the homelessness issue, where I think we're up to approaching 50 people in our warming center. Of course, it was almost 20 below for a few nights. So the numbers have just gone way up. We're into January and we've had no deaths. You know, the successes in that are just astounding, and the warming center, it's working. Next year it'll be different, but it's getting us by. Secondly, I with regard to the public health, we're going to be discussing more. We don't hear enough about it, but fentanyl is a huge issue across the country, and it is in our community. My sense is you'll be hearing us talk more about fentanyl and approaches to fentanyl and messaging with regards to fentanyl and getting the word out to the community how utterly deadly it is. It's just beyond measure how serious that is. Next, Monday night, the 13th, is a State of the Downtown event. If any of you would like to join up with the DCP and the mayor, you're speaking, and on others, it'll be I think their first attempt at telling us about what's going on in the state of the downtown, and we're all invited to get a ticket and go to that. That's Monday night, the 13th, at the hotel, right, downtown? Yep. The Jasper Hotel. And lastly, the Martin Luther King Awards event tonight is on the 20th at the Fargo Theater. I hope you can all make it to that. There'll be awards presented and a program that'll just be stellar. So if you've never been to or if you go all the time, it's just worth going on a Monday night in Fargo to the Martin Luther King event.
Very good. We have one extra item, the purchase and agreement or earnest money contract with the galvanizers. Mike Redinger to explain.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you for the time and your consideration to add this item at the end of your agenda tonight. On December 23rd, last meeting, the Commission established negotiation parameters that you provided to staff to work on the sale of this industrial property. It's located in the city of West Fargo, and between December 24 and New Year's Eve, December 31, I engaged with Goldmark, and Goldmark engaged with the interested party to negotiate terms that were consistent with those negotiation parameters that were established by the Commission. A purchase price as well as an earnest money term was arrived at with Galvanizers, Inc., and that term was reached on December 31. After that, we worked with Houston Engineering, that they developed a survey as well as a description for the property, and then we've included that for your reference as well. But 10.84 acres is the size of the parcel. The term is $1,055,000. An earnest money term of $100,000. So following that earnest money deposit, the balance due to the city of Fargo is going to be $955,000. I would just note that the buyer is going to be responsible for all subdivision work, including platting as well as entitlements with the city of West Fargo. That will be the buyer's responsibility. And Galvanizers late this afternoon did sign the purchase agreement, a copy of which we placed on the commission dais this evening. So I just want to thank the Goldmark team for their assistance, as well as Eric Johnson for his assistance in getting us to this point, and just requesting that the City Commission approve this purchase agreement with Galvanizers, Inc. Tonight as a matter of new business. Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
One more thing, Mr. Chair. So this is officially Shelley's last meeting sitting up here, and so she wanted to say a few words. Actually, she didn't.
No, she didn't.
But obviously just wanted to thank her for all she puts up with all of us, and thank you for your service to our city.
Thank you.
And you'll find her at the pub at 8. No, you will find her there. She will be retiring and trying to do a little different things, and we're very thankful for all the good work you've done for us. You're very patient with my commission.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Kolpak.
Aye.
Pepcorn.
Aye.
Turnberg,
Aye.
Strand,
Yes.
Mahoney.
Aye. Resident comments, we only have one speaker tonight, Andrew Hennessy. Is Andrew here? And Andrew's been very good about telling us, trying to get to some solutions on some of our homeless issues, so it'll be interesting what he has to say tonight, so.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. My name is Andrew Hennessy. I've been a resident of downtown Fargo for the past 5 years. An initiative of the City Commission 16 years ago created the Gladys Ray Shelter, which is an emergency shelter for homeless individuals. It has helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people over that time. But despite that success, even with the other church and nonprofit shelters, 50 to 100 people per night go without any kind of shelter in downtown Fargo. Commissioner Strand has championed the winter warming program, located in the old police station next to the Fargo Cass Health Department. After checking in at the Downtown Engagement Center, individuals are transported to the warming center. They may stay even if intoxicated or have misdemeanor police warrants. However, they cannot bring their pets in nor lie down on any cots. A solution to resolve this issue is over 60 days away or longer. It is possible to combine these two objectives, cold weather safety and increased emergency sheltering. In order to do this, however, the city needs to increase its sheltering capacity. I have proposed a tent encampment for 35 sheltered adults, which would include 24/7 staff supervision. The total cost, including staff, ranges from $75,000 to $100,000 for 3 months. I've sent a copy of the proposal to each commissioner and described it in a letter to the editor that has been published in the Fargo Forum. Mayor Mahoney made a previous proposal regarding direct funding to the Fargo-Moorhead Coalition to End Homelessness. I urge the commission to make any funding that they give to the coalition to apply to each project, period. Am I done? Okay, sorry.
Thank you. We have no other speakers tonight. We stand adjourned unless you have any other business. Shelley, one of the shortest meetings we've had, so
Yeah.
we stand adjourned.